All right, Mr. Noah, this is your handoff video since you bought this sight unseen. I always like walking around something, go over a few tips and tricks. It helps you as a new owner and others as, you know, a potential buyer for one of these SplitForce units. Not that it's anything too complex, but it's just things that I've learned over the course of the last couple of years of using one, that it's just, if I can help you on the learning curve a little bit to make your experience that much better, that much quicker, that's what I want to do. So let me grab that camera, we'll do a quick walk around, explain all the options that are on this one, and then get into some tips and tricks for you. All right, so very obvious here according to the decals, this is an 1116 from SplitForce. I'll show you the serial number up here just to make sure everything matches according to the records. I can get the camera to focus. Of course, it's in the shadow. But, so options that we have on this one. So I'll start here at the very front. We have a reversible conveyor. So it'll detent towards you and stay there, and that'll run it in regular, continuous, up the hill fashion. Neutral locks it out, and then it's a momentary for bringing the conveyor back down. If you get a little bit too high on the pile, you're not paying attention, at times you can get a piece of wood will get sucked back in through here, or it'll topple off early and then grabbed in to go inside that chute. So with the reversible conveyor, just reverse the conveyor and you clear it out. For those of you that are watching this video and you don't have the reversible conveyor, it's actually on the other side here. If you shut the engine off, take your speed valve, your speed control valve here, dial it all the way to 10. You can put a ratchet strap on one of these cross paddles and pull it backwards. Absolute worst case scenario, you can actually disconnect the hydraulic drive motors and manually run it backwards. That's kind of like a last case scenario. I normally order these up with that reversible control valve just because it's the absolute easiest way of doing this. The next piece that we did on these, or on this one, it's going to be your LED lights. So we have one that comes right down on the operator and the table, and the other one shines up onto the conveyor itself so you can see what's going on up there. The bigger units like this 1116 and the 1320 do come with a pressure gauge so you can see exactly where the unit is running. This will often spike well over 3000 psi to get that 26 tons out of that 20-inch cylinder as it goes up and down. Sorry, I'm trying to keep the sun glare to a minimum. I'll get into the pedal down here for the splitter in a second. So this is the 11 horsepower GX 340 with an electric start. That's also how we're able to do the LED lights. We do have a heavy duty spin-on hydraulic filter. Again, self-propelled. You watch me drive over here. But what I want to talk to with the splitter pedal, it's height adjustable. You can take a couple links here and move them up and down on the adjuster here to get the pedal height where you want it. Personally, I like it where it is because if you're driving around, you don't want it so low that you're going to stub into something, or too high where you have to, you know, really pick up your foot to get onto it. As you're splitting, I did it once, so that's how I know. I had a chunk that slipped back into here, and when the back of the wedge comes all the way down, you get this bar, and that bent it up, and it was stopping it early, and if that wasn't on there, it continues to go up where it's just building pressure. That's why I like these gauges that are on here. So the system should be at 0 unless you're doing something. If that little crossbar comes out of adjustment, it should be a 3/4 inch wrench here and here. This little bracket, you can not shake it, but you can move it up and down to reposition it. And what it does, this crossbar hits the lever where the spring is, and that's what knocks the splitter valve back into like a neutral. So that way there's 0 pressure in what's going on. The valve here is for your log lift up and down, which I'll show you that in the video here real quick. And if there's anything that is too gnarly, that you're kind of questioning anything, run this section of the knife down through it, and then you can kind of work your way back to the I-beam. And then this knuckle, if you look at it, if you can get that down in there, the piece of wood, it'll help pop it that much quicker because it's like an inch wider to the left and right of the knife. And then other than that, keep your thumbs on the side, otherwise you will be on the stumpier side of things. But let me do a couple operational things here, show off the features, and we'll close this one out. So I should have shown you this when I was on this side of the machine, but you have 3 levers. The one all the way to the right is your steering. It's very intuitive. Left is left and right is right. The middle valve is for your conveyor up and down, and the left valve is for your splitter travel back and forth. Pull the lever towards you and you go forward. I always reference forward as in where the conveyor is pointing. That's also your steer axle. It's easier to aim with the conveyor because if you're going that direction, you make a tight corner. This thing has a heck of a swing on it for coming around and taking something out. Don't ask me how I know. And all of your weight is over the drive tires because you have the cylinder, the whole center I-beam, the table, and the log lift. So all of your traction is going to be back there for doing that kind of stuff. So let me fire this up. We'll go, this is all the way down on the conveyor. We'll go all the way up just so you can see what it looks like. And then I'll grab the camera, we'll come around to the front, and I'll show you the log lift, the cylinder, and stuff. All the way down. All right, here's those 3 levers. So again, this one works with the front tires. Kind of point to the left, everything goes left. Bring it back to the right, and everything goes right. So the center one here is going to be your up and down. So what I like to do for travel is if I'm going to go backwards, I try to, hold my hand on the splitter trough, and it just kind of keeps that bob and the bounce out of it. And then if you're going forward, keep a thumb here just for travel movement. So the log lift is in the down position. We'll use the valve here if I can reach it and still shoot the camera. It does come up a little bit higher than the table. It helps slide things in. As far as the pedal goes, run it all the way down. You can stop it at any point, let it come back up a little bit, stop it, reposition, and when you take your foot off, it returns all the way up and in. And as far as the conveyor controls go, I like to run this around like a 3 or a 4, about where it is. It just helps with the noise that comes from the conveyor. There's no reason for this thing to be slapping and going really fast because it's going to keep up with you at that pace, especially if you're doing bundle wood, really cycling the cylinder up and down, trying to get some small stuff. If anything jams, like I said earlier, return this back to center. It stops the conveyor, and then you can bring the paddles back downhill again. So you can just clear a jam. If something doesn't look right, you're not happy with what happened, again, back to neutral, and then you can run this thing back downhill. Just watch that last paddle when it gets near the rubber. But this does have the upgraded Teflon pads on it. That's the little white pieces that you see. So when it goes underneath the conveyor, it tries to keep it as quiet as possible. So that's our SplitForce SF11 16. 11 horsepower, 16-foot conveyor with a log lift. All right, so I want to take a moment here, and if you're not like Mr. Noah and you're on the fence of which splitter might be best for you, let me give you 3 different criteria that are going to help you get into the right splitter. So the first one that I want to ask is, what kind of product are you producing? Second, what size, diameter, round are you trying to process? And thirdly, what kind of budget are you going to be in? No matter horizontal or vertical, we're going to be like on the low end, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000, and on the high end, we're going to be like mid-20s to upper 20s, depending on what options we put on it. So kind of get that in your head of where you think you can make money against how much you are trying to spend to process your firewood rounds. What are you trying to produce? Is it strictly home heating firewood where you want, just the bigger pieces, make it as quick as possible? Or are you doing more like custom split stuff? You want to get into like the really nice small pieces for making bundles, the restaurant wood, the pizza wood, the barbecue wood. What is it that you're trying to produce? Or is it a little bit of both? When it comes down to the home heating firewood, it is really difficult to beat a horizontal splitter. Throw in a 4-way, a 6-way, an 8-way, and just you're making all those different pieces every time that cylinder strokes. And if that's all you're doing, by all means, the horizontal is it. If you are doing something, a combination between your home heating wood and bundles, I think the SplitForce shines a little bit better because you don't have to stroke the cylinder all the way up and down the full 20 inches. If you're doing something like a nice seasoned ash or oak, you might just have to get this down there like 3 or 4 inches. It's going to pop and split, let go of the pedal, it comes back up, and just kind of keep typewritering through it and karate chopping up and down, pushing it in the conveyor, and you're gone. So it comes down to every time you need a new piece of wood in the horizontal, you have to let that travel 24 inches. With the vertical, you can stop this at any point, let it return, move it, and then do it again until it's gone. So I know we had a video out there, I forget what the time limit was, but I'll put a link here in the video. It was a 2024 from Brute Force. Whatever the time was, I remember the numbers. We cycled that back and forth 36 times, and then we went and did the same thing here with the SplitForce, and the knife went up and down like 101 times. So yes, we were going through a 6-way splitter, and this was just a 2-way knife. So again, you have to weigh out what you're looking to do. So diameter wise, from the I-beam out here to the edge of the table where I'm standing is about 18 inches. So that becomes your pivot point for the big round. Plus you still have to reach a toe underneath that piece of wood to get to the foot pedal. So I like to try to do like 30 inches and smaller. It's something that I can get around and work, quarter it up, move the pieces aside, process them out, and go from there. On the Brute Force Timberwolf side of things, they start off with like a semi-pro and go up into like an industrial 30, like your big Alpha series, with the pullback arm, the box wedge, the whole bit. So again, it just comes down to what you're looking to do. I know that the semi-pro or the LS model, it's good on like that, like 22-inch and down stuff through a 4-way, a 6-way. It's just basically how the cradle is that you put the wood into. And then obviously the box wedge, whatever fits in there, just keep slapping the levers and let that go through. If I didn't say it already, there's 4 different models here within the SplitForce family. There's your towable unit, your self-drive unit, no conveyor, and then the 1116 and the 1120. So again, this is where having that conversation with you enables me to build you a better quote to fit your needs, because we've used everything from the verticals to the horizontals, and just would love to hear about your situation and what you're trying to do and produce to get you into what could be the best unit for your needs. So give us a phone call. It's 833-SPLITTER. It's 833-775-4887. You can also email me at sales@shaverequipment.com. Again, would love that opportunity to earn your business with the sales quote. Type it up in QuickBooks, fire it right to you, review everything as a line item proposal, going down through with all the different options, and just make sure it's exactly what you need, right down to the color. A couple of different models of color that we can do for you guys to make sure that it matches, if that's what you're looking for. So again, would love to earn your business with that sales quote, 833-SPLITTER, or sales@shaverequipment.com. Do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button here on the channel so you can stay up to date on everything we have going on. And remember, with units like this, working hard to be lazy is really easy. Thanks for watching. So these things are notorious for moving around, so it looks like a ton of straps because it is a ton of straps. So pulling 4 different corners, going up on the conveyor itself to keep that from swinging back and forth. Like any splitter, I always run the carburetor out of gas. The tank itself is full, but when you go to start this, Mr. Noah, go ahead and turn the fuel on, choke it, and then it can go up and drive off the deck. So I'm not sure if it's from the tires that bounce around. I've debated about taking air out of the tires, but then I'd have to put air back into the tires. So I don't know, pulling 4 corners plus holding the conveyor down should definitely do the trick. But just wanted to show you how we're sending it out of here. And just want to say thank you so much for the business. Let me know when you get her and send some pictures of a giant wood pile behind the conveyor, sir. Thanks again.